My name is Emma Zawacki and I'm a sophomore here. Usually the way that I go about writing my reviews is I usually start by finding an album that I really like, and then from there I usually try and listen to the whole thing all the way through. It's usually not like in order as it is like on the album. I usually just hit shuffle and I listen to all of them, and then I take notes on like the songs and the tracks that stand out to me and the ones that I think that I have a lot to say on, or the ones that I think that kind of go together to give a cohesive feeling to the review. From there, I listen to the song that I'm talking about over and over and over again, just because I like to make sure that like the paragraph or the paragraphs that I'm working on have the same overall like vibe and like tone to them. And I find that if I'm listening to the song that I'm trying to talk about on repeat, it really helps stick to that like same tone. My favorite song on the album was Damage Gets Done featuring Brandy Carlisle. I really liked it because it had such a like upbeat, like an upbeat music like element to it, but the lyrics were really sad once you got down to it and you really started like looking at them and analyzing them. This album deals a lot with like young love, and like specifically the song Damage Gets Done is about like reckless love and like the feelings that evokes. And so I think what I liked so much about the album is just how like involved you felt in the storylines that he was trying to get across, and how you just felt a part of the story. And I think that's what made the album so likable to me, is you felt like you were right there in it with him, and that's usually what makes or breaks an album for me. I really like this album. I describe it in my review as like a multifunctional album where like it's like you on the surface level, like it's great as like background music, or like I'd play it like in my apartment while I was making dinner, or like while I'm doing homework, but like you also can really go down the rabbit hole of like connecting it to Dante's Inferno, or like analyzing the lyrics, or like I said, they're very poetic, so you can also like go through and like annotate it if you really wanted to. And so I think that on so many different levels, this album is just like a masterpiece. I think the main thing that made this album stand out is that it was based so heavily upon a literary work. I don't really see a lot of artists doing that. I also think that for it only being his third album that he's ever released, it like you can't tell that it's only his third album just because of how well it's done. I think that people should listen to this album because it just is so beautifully done. I'm a really big fan of like albums and songs that like if you take away the music and if you just put the words down on paper, they're still just as beautiful. And I think that that is the perfect way to describe this album. If you took away all of like the production elements and the music and all of that, you still get this like beautiful work of art that is so passionate and so like emotion invoking in its listeners, and I think that's what makes it so special.